Good morning, Carolina Village. Aline here with another session of our Village Vitality series. For today's class, we're keeping it pretty simple in terms of what you'll need. Really, you just need your chair. There might be a couple things where your yoga blocks will come in handy, including our very first centering techniques. We'll be using a block behind us for some support. So if you are in your straight back chair doing the centering and you don't have a block, you could drape a really thick blanket over the back of the chair to give yourself some padding and support. Or I'll suggest once we get there that you might actually move to a more comfortable chair or even lay down on the couch. So I also have a yoga mat placed under my chair today. That's just really a demonstration for you if you do have a yoga mat, if you want to use it. And really the only time where I say you absolutely need a yoga mat is if your chair slides around at all on the floor while you're doing any of the exercises. So if you ever feel unstable or that your chair glides too easily, you want something like this nice sticky yoga mat underneath your chair. So I recommend practicing barefoot today. Of course, if your doctor recommends otherwise, or if your body recommends otherwise, then listen to them. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. So for today's class, I just wanted to focus on trying to leave class today with a sense of happiness. So we're just gonna be happy for class today. We're going to do some exercises that hopefully help the body come into a sense of just feeling balanced, feeling open, feeling easy to be living in. And that may help promote that sense of happiness, as well as the breathing technique that I've selected today. So for today, we're doing what's called Brahmari Breathing. And Brahmari is Sanskrit for, it can translate to bumblebee. So bumblebee breath. We're basically imitating the sound of a bumblebee, thinking of spring and the warmer weather and just being in nature. Typically for a lot of people, that brings a sense of happiness. Really cool thing about this breathing technique as well is it is proven to reduce stress and anxiety, to relieve tension, both emotionally, mentally, and physically in the body. And because we're creating a vibration, making that bumblebee droning sound, it's really great actually for the ear, nose, and throat, as well as some of our endocrine, or part of our brain that regulates our endocrine glands. And just in case it's been decades since your last science class, endocrine glands are basically the glands throughout our body that produce hormones, neurotransmitters, and other really important things that help our body function and talk to all the different parts. So it's just a super beneficial breathing technique and kind of lighthearted and carefree. So we're going to start with that. Now for our centering, our breath work, I want you to try to be as comfortable as you can be. One of my favorite things to do is to bring a yoga block behind my back and pressed against the chair. So I just feel like I'm not having to work quite as hard to maintain my posture. Now, if you are practicing in your living room today and maybe you have a comfy armchair, maybe you want to lay on the couch even, those are all options. I will say that I'm going to try to have us extend the breathing technique and do a little bit of brain flossing. So a little bit of work with our hands and fingers, a little bit of work with our feet. So it would be ideal if you're seated today, if that's doable for you. If you're going to try the block technique, there are a couple different options you can do. You could bring that block to the top of the sacrum. So kind of the top of the butt area, not the low back. So we want to go lower than that. So anatomically, that's probably about the top of your butt crack. Sorry, just your gluteal fold. All right, let's use our anatomy terms. I don't even really know if that's what it's called, but right about here. And if you're going to do it that way, you want the block to be lengthwise like this. Now, another way, which I'm going to practice today, is to bring that block higher up. So right about where below the shoulder blades is probably the best spot for that. And it's going to be pressing against your chair like so, and your back pressing against that block. So for that one, you do have to make sure that your chair back is high enough. So go ahead and experiment a little bit if you have a block and you're going to use it. Otherwise, you can just sit in your chair. You can even scoot to the back of the chair and lean back a little bit. So again, you don't have to have that block. It's just a really neat little tool to use if you do have one. Okay, so let's get settled in for practice today. And as always, please respect your sensations in your body. The sensations in your body are your body trying to communicate with you. And I know a lot of folks, as they get older, maybe actually try to ignore their bodies because maybe you're in a lot of pain, discomfort, and you're just trying to kind of block all that out. And I'm here to maybe encourage a shift of perspective. And at least for this next hour of trying to really focus on what you're feeling in your body. So if you're ever feeling increased pain, if you're ever feeling just not good, so it could be you feel like your heart's racing, or you feel like you can't catch your breath, or you feel like just your body's saying, exit this pose, then listen to those cues. And yeah, that's my only rule today. Okay, so you should be comfortably seated at this point. If you can, go ahead and rest your hands on your thighs with the palms up. And start to allow the eyes to close. Notice how I took a big sigh. You may want to take a couple breaths like that. Just try to release any tension that may be lingering in the body. And just starting to settle in. Feeling as if you're lifting up through the top of the head and rooting down through the sits bones, through those parts of the pelvis that kind of poke into the seat underneath you. Rooting down through the feet as well. And just beginning to observe your breathing, checking in with how your body feels today. And for our Brahmari Pranayama, we will be doing nostril breathing. So we're trying not to breathe at all through the mouth, but we will make a sound, so like a humming sound on the exhale. And so it'll sound a little bit like this. You'll take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, making that And for most people, that exhale will naturally extend in length because you are making that sound. And that's okay. That's a great thing. When we can increase the length of our exhale, we increase parasympathetic nervous system dominance, which means we bring the heart rate down, we bring the breathing frequency down, we bring the blood pressure down. We bring stress hormones down. So go ahead whenever you're ready and start to invite this breathing technique, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, but on the exhale, making that humming sound. Keep breathing at your own pace. You can try alternating the pitch of your voice, or is that tone? Not quite sure. I'm not a music person, but basically making a little higher pitched or lower pitched. And keep going with that breathing technique. And if possible, while you're maintaining that breathing, we'll begin a little bit of work with the hands and fingers. If you find it incredibly challenging to keep with your breathing and moving with the fingers, let go of the bumblebee breathing, but you'll still be moving with the breath coordination. So I really recommend trying to keep it going. And remember, we're trying to be happy and lighthearted today. So it's okay if you can't accomplish both the breathing and this movement. Just do your best. Maybe laugh at yourself, hum. You're already humming at yourself. So so for that first movement, basically what we'll do is go ahead and as you're continuing your breathing, bring the pointer finger and the thumb to touch. And the next time you exhale, you're going to trace that pointer finger down to the base of the thumb for the full length of exhale. On the inhale, trace that finger back up so the tips of the fingers and the thumbs are together. And then for the next exhale, switch fingers, move to that second finger, tracing it down to the base of the thumb. And on the inhale, bringing it back towards the tip of the thumb. And you'll keep moving. Next exhale, ring finger, moving down to the base of the thumb. The inhale draws that finger up to the tip of the thumb. And then moving on with the next exhale to the pinky finger and thumb. And then bringing that pinky finger back up on the inhale. And then lastly, bringing the pointer finger and thumb back together, this time tracing the thumb on the exhale down to the base of the pointer finger. And then tracing the thumb back up. Release those fingers. Keep with the Brahmari breathing. And let's see if we can do that again. I'm not going to talk you through it this time, but you start with the finger at the tip of the thumb, tracing it down on the exhale, and then tracing it back up on the inhale, moving from pointer to second finger to ring finger to pinky finger, and then thumb tracing down and up the pointer finger. So just keep breathing at your own pace and try that out on your own. Relax your hands, pressing your palms down into your thighs when you're done. Trying to keep that Brahmari breathing for 2 more exercises if you can. So now moving still with the breath. On our inhale, we're going to shrug the shoulders up to the ears. Squeeze them up. And on the exhale, pressing them down and away, feeling that neck lengthen. And keep moving like this with the breathing. Inhaling to scrunch up those shoulders. And exhaling to press them down. Go ahead and take about 2 more breaths like that. Maybe you're having as much fun as I am with changing that voice. Go ahead and take 1 more cycle, shrugging and pressing down. And then the final movement that we'll take here, and maybe your eyes have been closed this whole time. Awesome. Maybe you've had to open them to check out what we're doing, but if you can, follow along with those eyes still closed. Let's take our last few bumblebee breaths here by, on the inhale, lifting the heels. So we're kind of lifting onto the tippy toes. And on the exhale, pressing those heels down and lifting the toes up. Couple more of these. Go ahead and take 1 more or finish the one that you're on. And then whenever you're ready, you can release that bumblebee breathing. Just returning to normal breath. Unless you'd like to keep that breathing going for longer, that's completely up to you. It is safe to practice it for as long as it feels good to your body. Now, if you are using a block, or you're leaning back in your chair, or you've moved to a different chair than the one you're practicing in today, go ahead and make your way back to your practice chair and or remove that block. And come on over to the edge of your chair. So we're just scooting up a little closer to the edge, starting to get the arms and legs moving a little bit bigger now. And so on an inhale, we'll draw that right knee up into the chest. The only people that should not do this are people that have had hip replacements, especially posterior hip replacement, just within the past 6 to 9 months or less. You guys, it will just open the knee out to the side and bring it back in. We are going to circle that knee. So if you can, drawing that knee up into the chest, we're going to circle that knee, opening it out to the side, and at the same time, circling that left shoulder. Doesn't have to be seamlessly coordinated in terms of where you are in the circle of your shoulder and with the circle of your hip. But do try to make this as fluid as you can. Always working the brain by working the coordination. It's one of the very powerful benefits of a yoga practice. Go ahead and reverse directions. So I'm reversing my shoulder circle as well as my hip circle. Just breathing normally. Trying to stay nice and lifted through the chest and through the top of the head. Take one more circle here. Good. And then go ahead and scoot over to that right side of your seat. In fact, my right hip is actually not even on the chair anymore right now. And what I'm going to do is plant that left foot down. I'm holding on to my chair here with that left hand. Right hand can come to the right hip. And I'm going to try to open that right leg straight out by the side in a pose called gate pose. We typically do this, if you've practiced with me a whole bunch, we typically do it turned sideways in the chair. So this is a little bit different. Left hand again to that seat of the chair. Go ahead and lean into that hand. So you're in a little bit of a side stretch here already. Inhaling that right arm up and exhaling into any amount more of a side reach here. So I'm bending that left elbow so I can accommodate for a little bit of a deeper reach. If I have the flexibility and I have a block, maybe I'm bringing that hand down to my block. Or if I have a second chair, maybe I'm bringing that hand to a chair or to a coffee table, or you get the idea, to some elevated surface. And holding that side reach, let's take an exhale to sweep that right arm back down by the side. Inhale, sweep it kind of forward, up and around. Just doing a couple shoulder circles here. Exhaling the arm down. Inhaling the arm up and around. One more time. Really great for opening the chest and the heart. And this next breath, instead of rotating that arm down, see if you want to just open that chest up towards the ceiling any amount. Again, this is where listening to your body comes into play. Does this feel okay to you or not? And bringing that arm back to our reach. On an exhale, releasing that hand back down and slowly making your way back up to seated. Go ahead and bring that right foot in towards the left. Shift those hips back to the center of the chair. Let's do that on the other side. But before we move to the other side, pause here in the middle and just see what you can observe. If you can tell any differences between right and left sides of the body, maybe along either side of the spine, maybe in the shoulders or chest, or all of the above, or none of the above. We're just investigating and seeing what we come up with. When you're ready, those of you who haven't had recent hip replacements, we're going to pick that left knee up and circle it. Those of you that have had recent hip replacements, you're going to circle this right shoulder and just open and close that left knee or hip, okay? Like that. So if you can, you're picking up that knee just for a bigger range of motion here in the hip. The reason why we don't do this for recent hip replacements is it can be a bit of an unstable position, this deep knee flexion, hip flexion, where I'm drawing that knee into the chest. Take one more circle in this direction. Pause and reverse directions for both the shoulder and the hip. Trying to sit up as tall as you can, coordinating these movements. I know it can be a bit of a challenge. Hopefully we take it with a light heart and a sense of humor. And when you've had enough circling, releasing back to center, go ahead and shift those hips now over to the left side of the chair. Straightening out that left leg out to the side. Planting that right foot down, so getting your base of support here. You might want to go ahead and get that block ready, or chair, or whatever you might be using, if anything. First, that right hand can come to the seat of the chair next to the right hip. Inhale that left arm up and exhale into a side reach. You may just want to stay here. This may be plenty of sensation for you. You're getting a good stretch. You're feeling that expansion in the rib cage. If you would like to go a little bit deeper, you can reach that right hand to something a little bit lower or a little bit further away and come into a bit of a deeper side reach here. Wherever you end up, we're going to try for those shoulder circles. Now, if the full circling feels awful on your shoulder, then you might want to try to bring the fingertips to the shoulder and just do elbow circles, okay? Lots of options, or just don't do it at all. Just hold the side reach. So let's take 3 breaths if you'd like to join me. Sending on the exhale, that arm down, and inhaling it up and around. Exhaling down. Trying to move seamlessly with your breathing, not with my breathing, unless they happen to match and that feels good to you. On this next exhale, instead of circling that arm down, see if you'd like to open that chest up, just stretching a little deeper. You can still do this even if the fingertips are on the shoulder here. Make sure you're breathing. That's a sign your body will give you if you're pressing too hard. Go ahead and reach that arm over one more time, lengthening from those toes all the way to the fingertips. And on an exhale, bring that hand down, hand to the hip, slowly coming out of that side bend, and then slowly coming back to center. We'll take one more exercise or movement pattern here before we begin our first flow sequences. And so coming to the edge of the seat, bringing those feet together. We're going to heel toe our feet from side to side. It's kind of funny. You might laugh. It's kind of goofy looking, but we're bringing the toes over, heels over, toes over, heels over, and then to the other side, and then back and forth. So you're just kind of trying to do this funny little foot exercise from side to side, moving as far as you can without turning the body. So this is just the legs and the hips. You might notice some interesting stretching sensations in the legs and the hips and the feet. So just shuffling side to side. Now the next time you bring those feet to the right side, keep them there. Take a deep inhale to lift up. And on your exhale, take a gentle little twist to that left side. Or wait, did I go the wrong? I went the wrong way. Okay, come back to center. Feet are still on the right. Deep inhale, exhale, twist towards the right. So with those feet over to the right, you might be feeling a little bit more of a stretching sensation in the back. Or not. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed. Take one more deep inhale here. And exhale, release to center. Go ahead and funny shuffle those feet over to the left side. Take a deep inhale to lift and lengthen. And exhale, twist to that left side. I like to bring this hand to the back of the chair, not so I can wrench deeper in my twist, but just so I have some support. Remember, we never want to force any movements, really ever, but especially not in our yoga practice. We must respect the body. That is one of our, we have restraints, what are called restraints and observances in yoga, yamas and niyamas. And the very first rule of yoga essentially is ahimsa, or nonviolence. And that can mean so many things, but for right now, what it means to this class is non-harming to ourselves. So take one more inhale. And exhale, release that twist. Shuffle those feet back to center and go ahead and open those feet out. Now would be a great time to grab some water. If you're feeling a little bit thirsty, I apologize, I did not mention, although my water was placed here, I did not mention that you might want to have some water with you. So you can certainly go up, go to the fridge, grab yourself, I'm assuming you have a little water filter on your fridge, which not everyone does, but go get some water if you need it. We're going to meet back in seated mountain pose here, Tadasana. So coming to the edge of your chair, we're going to be cycling through this forward fold and back bend sequence 3 times, moving with our breathing. So we're not going to hold in any one place. Now, those of you, though, with congestive heart failure, or especially osteoporosis in the spine, you are not going to fold all the way forward. Instead, you will fold as far as you can before the back rounds. So that may mean you're only folding to here, or maybe you can go to here, but you are not allowing the spine to round forward. Okay, so let's everyone take a deep inhale to lift those arms. Exhale, take that fold forward. Arms can really do whatever you want them to do, but I'm going to bring mine to the legs. Give a little massage on the way down. On your next inhale, come all the way back up. Arms come out. And exhale, reach for the back of the chair. Next inhale, press the belly, ribs, and chest forward. And exhale, release. We'll cycle through that 2 more times. Inhaling the arms up. Exhaling into your forward fold. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling to reach those arms back for the chair if you can. And inhaling into your back bend, pressing the belly, ribs, and chest forward. Exhaling to release. You can take that last one at your own pace, or you can continue to follow my pace if that works well for your breathing. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling all the way up. Exhaling, the arms reach back. Maybe the palms open this time for a deeper stretch. And inhale, pressing belly, ribs, chest forward, lifting that chin, but don't let that head drop back. And exhale, release. Continuing that powerful breath and movement, linking. We're going to inhale to draw that right knee into the chest. Again, if I have any recent hip replacements in my class today, instead of drawing that knee in, so let me demonstrate your movement first. You are going to inhale, pressing the belly and chest forward, hands draw back. On the exhale, you're going to reach or extend that leg and kind of scoop out the abdomen, press that spine back. So you'll be inhaling and exhaling. Now, those of you without recent hip replacements, you're going to draw that knee up and into the chest. You can do this with both hands. If you're able to, loosely linking the fingertips behind the thigh. Inhaling to lift and open, draw that knee up and in. And on the exhale, those of you with osteoporosis, you're just going to straighten that leg out, keep the spine neutral. Everyone else, we can scoop out or round out just like I showed with the hip replacement version. Inhaling up and in, or inhaling into a back bend for hip replacement. Exhaling, either just straightening that leg out, keeping the spine neutral, or rounding if you don't have osteoporosis in the spine. Keep breathing like this a couple more times. Feeling what you feel here, what kind of sensations are coming up. Can you manage to link the breath and the movements? And if not, how does that make you feel? Can you change that feeling to something positive if it's not a positive feeling? Change your perspective. One more inhale and one more exhale. Keeping that leg straight. Go ahead and release the heel down and come up to lengthen the spine. So now we have that right leg extended straight out. Left heel is under the knee. We're going to take some forward folds here. Again, those of you that should not be in spinal flexion, so basically osteoporosis in the spine, or if it just doesn't feel good, you want to make sure that you're only going as far forward as you can before the back rounds. So that may just be about this far. We're going to kind of massage that leg with our hands as we come down. So we're going to exhale, reaching down. Again, if it feels okay to round the back and you don't have osteoporosis, you can do that here. Or I should say osteoporosis in the spine. Those of you that have it in the femur, the legs, not a problem. You can do this all day as long as it feels good. So I'm kind of pressing my hands into the thighs, doing a little bit of lymphatic massage. You can press as hard or as gently as you want to. You can kind of play around with maybe one hand's on top and one hand's on the bottom. But you're just exhaling as you fold forward and inhaling as you come up. Maybe noticing a stretch in the back of that leg when you come forward. Again, maybe you're only going to about the knee. Be very gentle when you cross over that knee joint. So we're not wanting to be pressing weight down into the leg, especially not at the knee. Take about one more fold like this. Good work. Let's open out now into a high lunge. So keeping that right foot where it is, just going to start to shift around in the chair to start to, basically I'm rotating my hips all the way, boop, to a opposite diagonal, I guess we could say. So I'm going to move this left leg. I'm pivoting on to the back toes eventually. I'm just kind of shifting around in that chair until I feel, a good stretch here in the front of the hip. Maybe other sensations as well. Take a deep inhale once you've made it to where you feel as if you're sort of in a lunge position. It doesn't have to look like this. We're going to take 3 twists with our breathing now. So deep inhale to lift and lengthen through the top of the head. Exhale, twisting towards the chair, maybe grabbing hold, but again, no forcing. Inhale to release to center. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, release. Exhale, twist. One more time. That might have actually been 4 times. Usually try to do everything at least 3 times. Inhaling back to center. If you would like to, maybe bringing that right arm up and possibly the left arm, although both arms overhead can be pretty challenging. So take it where you want to. Try to lift that chin, open the heart, slight back bend here, deep inhale. And on the exhale, take a nice sigh, relax those arms. Go ahead and just work your way back to the front. And we'll take those 3 folds again and do this sequence on the other side. So I'm going to tuck those blocks out of my way, although you may want to use them or have them here for your forward fold, but we're not holding anywhere for long enough to really use them, but feel free if you want to. So finding that seated Tadasana or mountain pose, we're trying to get hips aligned with knees. So I'm kind of poking around, feeling for those hip bones in line. Doesn't have to be perfect. Ankles or heels under the knees. Finding that nice stacked alignment in the body. We'll take those 3 breaths forward. So just a reminder with some restrictions. Osteoporosis in the spine, no rounding forward. So we may come all the way down. You are probably going to pause about halfway down. Maybe you can go a little further, but again, no rounding forward of that spine. Okay, let's inhale those arms up. Exhaling to fold forward, maybe different arm variation this time. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, get those arms ready for your back bend. Inhaling into your back bend, pressing forward through the whole front of the body. And exhale to release, maybe even sigh here. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhale, lifts you up. Exhale, find the arms to the back of the chair for your back bend. Inhale, pressing forward. Exhale, releasing. Cycle through one more time if it feels good to you. And big sigh to release. From here, just a reminder, I'll show the hip replacement variation first. So I'm going to back bend on my inhale, and on my exhale, round forward, straighten that leg out. So inhaling and exhaling. I'll show my osteoporosis in the spine version next. So you'll inhale to your back bend. Exhale, let go of the leg, straighten it out. Keep that spine long. Inhale and exhale. And those of you lucky enough to not have a fresh hip replacement or osteoporosis in the spine, you'll follow along with me. So let's go. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting that back round. Again, if you don't have osteoporosis in the spine, go ahead and cycle through about 4 or 5 times total with your breathing at your pace, your inner rhythm. Maybe even inviting that bumblebee breathing back into play here. That hum on your exhale. Take about 1 or 2 more cycles. Let's finish up whatever this last round you're on. And when you're done, you just release that leg straight down. Lengthen up through the spine. And we'll take our folds forward, stretching out the hamstrings here, maybe the calf as well, and doing a little bit of a leg massage if that feels good to you. So if you feel that you're pressing too much weight down here, it tweaks anything, doesn't feel good, then you can just take a fold and then up. And in fact, those of you with osteoporosis in the spine, you're going to do exactly this. You can trace with that left hand a little bit, but you're only going to fold forward as far as you can without the back rounding, okay? Everyone else can round, but try to maintain that flat back because it's just better for the spine and it's a little challenge. So let's take those exhales to fold. Remember, no putting weight in that left knee. Oh man, I'm feeling a little tight in those hamstrings today. So just notice, what do you feel? Does it feel good to squeeze and massage those legs a little bit? Maybe working along the top, the outside, the back. So maybe one hand on top, one hand on the back. Just play around with it. You've got several more breaths to go to just kind of figure out what feels good for your body. Take one more fold forward. And exhale. Relax. Let's move into our high lunge on this other side. So I'm going to pretty much keep my left foot where it is, using my hands and this right foot to just shift around until my hips went from here to a diagonal towards the back of the chair. So I'm kind of perched here on the edge, the right upper edge of my chair. Rooting down through that right foot. Maybe I've repositioned this left foot a little bit if I need to, just to feel stable and comfortable. Inhale to lift and lengthen through the top of the head and the spine. Exhale to move into any amount of twist that feels good to you. Inhale, release that twist. 2 or 3 more times here, exhaling to move into your twist. Inhaling to release the twist. Finish up the twist that you're on. Possibly lifting on an inhale, that left arm. And then maybe on another inhale, that right arm, if both arms up feels okay to you. Breathing here, maybe taking a slight back bend, lifting through the heart. And on an exhale, releasing those arms, releasing that lunge. So I'm just kind of rotating back to the front. And let's come up to standing behind the chair for a really brief sequence here. So I don't really feel like going through chair pose today. If you would like to, go for it. On my line of what would make me happy today, I'm going to say skip it. Okay. So however you want to, you can come up through chair, or you can just come up to standing and move behind your chair. Now, because I'm using a mat and the floor under me is pretty firm, I'm actually going to scoot my chair forward. Just be mindful of props, of furniture around you. Just be careful if you're moving your setup. Grab some water here if you would like some. It's a great time to take a little water break. We'll be working, surprise, with the breath and movement, repetitive, flowing. And what we'll begin with here is lifting up onto the toes and then coming back down. So I'm going to bring the hands to the chair to start, making sure my feet are about hip width apart. What I might want to do if I have a block is bring it between the thighs. So this is going to help with a couple different things. One is it will help actually give space between the feet. It's really hard, almost impossible, to squeeze the feet together with that block between the thighs. Another thing this will do is kind of force you to engage and activate the inner thighs a little bit more. So what we'll do here is on our inhale, full length of inhale, to come all the way up to the tippy toes. And full length of exhale to come all the way back down. So don't move too fast. You want to, on that final, I can't exhale anymore, my exhale's done, that's when my heels touch. And my final inhale, can't inhale anymore, that's when I reach the height, or highest point of my heels lifting. So exhaling. And inhaling. Keep moving like this. Now, if you would like to add a little bit of challenge, next time you inhale, bring that right arm up with you. And then bring it down. Now, left arm. Perhaps now both arms, if your balance is pretty decent, or keep switching right and then left. If you're trying it with both arms, know that you can just step a little wider if you start to fall out of it. You can try grabbing hold of the chair. You can just sink the heels back down like I just did. I started to lose my balance. Go ahead and take 2 more lifts. Again, maybe just no arms, or maybe you're doing one arm at a time, or both. Last lift. When you're done, if you're using your block, you can let it go. Very good work. Let's take a nice relaxing stretch before we come down to Shavasana. So bringing the hands to the back of your chair. I'll also show another variation here if you want to move a little bit deeper and have the flexibility. We'll actually use the seat of our chair instead of the back. But let me demonstrate with the back of the chair first. This should be safe even for my osteoporosis folks, as long as you don't let the back round. So we're going to walk those feet back into a standing downward dog. And so walking the feet back as far as you feel comfortable. Notice my back is still flat. I'm not letting it round. So I'm keeping that flat back, and I'm going to bend the knees as much as I need to just kind of push that tailbone back. So I'm probably feeling a stretch in the backs of the legs. Try to relax that head a little bit, but head is staying above the heart. Heart is staying above the hips. So this is pretty safe for all of our health conditions. Now, if you want to release a little deeper and start to drop the head and the heart down, Only do that if you don't have congestive heart failure and if you can keep the spine long, if it feels good to you. I'm going to show a variation. So you all just hang out there. Find your down dog, hang out. Those of you that were like, yes, I'll lean, I want to go deeper. You're basically just doing the same thing, but with the hands on the seat of the chair. Walking back, coming down into your downward dog. So pick your method. I'm going to move back to the back of the chair just because I feel like probably most folks are going to be here. And now from here, if it feels good to you, go ahead and bend and straighten. Make sure you're breathing nice and deep here. And then for our last few breaths, if it feels good, you can bring that left hand towards the center of the chair. Inhale that right arm up into a little twist. Exhale, release and switch. Inhaling, opening, exhaling, releasing. If that didn't feel good, just hang out for these last couple of breaths in your down dog. Otherwise, you can try that twisting one more to each side. And slowly, when you're ready, coming back up. So first, lifting the head and chest, starting to slowly walk those feet in. And pausing here, rooting down through the feet, lifting up through the crown of the head. Just observing the body for a moment. All right, let's get ready for some relaxation. So moving into our Shavasana pose, our corpse pose. Yeah, I said it, corpse pose. So to me, I feel that this is called corpse pose because we're trying to come to such a sense of stillness. We're trying to quiet the mind, quiet the body, quiet the breath. And not be distracted by all of those, I guess, thoughts, images, blah, 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 the things, we're stimulated by our sight, by our own minds that we often can't stop. And that's why we need to practice techniques like this. I do want to show, because we have a little bit of time, a variation of Shavasana called legs up the wall. So as it sounds, this is usually done with your legs up a wall, but instead we would do this with legs on the chair. Now, again, if you have really high blood pressure, even if it's controlled with medication pretty well, you might not want to do this one. And if you have congestive heart failure or glaucoma, you don't want to do this one either. So those of you with those conditions that I listed, you can either lay down on your couch, you can recline back in your chair like we normally do, or sit in an armchair, lazy boy type thing. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. Those of you that want to try this one, so I'm going to kind of walk you through how to get down, because I know that that's what can be very scary for people. I've done this a lot in cardiac and pulmonary rehab settings. So I know that a lot of you out there can do this one. So just give it a shot, especially if you have someone here with you. You're practicing with a partner or you have a partner in the house, so that, if you get a little worried that you can't get back up, you can have help. But let me show you. So before you do anything, let me show you how to get up, or how to get down, and how to get back up. So if you're going to go for this, I recommend kind of coming down to the knees. So you're definitely going to want to have like a yoga mat or a blanket under here for padding. So coming down, shifting those feet over to one side and bringing those feet out in front of you. And then shifting as close as you can to the chair. So I'm going to bring my hips. I'm going to kind of scooch over. I recommend hips to the front edge or leg of my chair, because what I'm going to do is come down to my side and then to my back from here. So I want to, if I scooch myself forward, that's going to bring me to the perfect position where I don't have to adjust anymore from here. So I'm going to come down to my side, push my hips towards that chair, maybe even touching the chair, and then roll onto my back. And I promise you, sorry, I've got my little box for my microphone that is not comfortable in my back. So I promise you, it's worth it. Once you get here, the release you get in the low back, the stimulation for your circulation, the blood flow back to the heart, phenomenal. Just in case you're still deciding whether you want to try this or not, let me show you how you'll get back up. So you'll roll over, or you'll tuck your knees towards your chest, rolling over to one side, using your hands to press you up. All fours. Find that chair or coffee table or whatever you need to use to get yourself back up. All right? So after all of that, some of you may still say, no, Pauline, not doing it. And you can just, like I said, recline in your chair or in a different chair or couch. Those of you joining me, let's go for it. So coming down, maybe to the knees or straight to the bum from here. Shifting those hips to the leg of the chair. Coming on down to your side. Rolling on to that back. And then I have very minimal adjustments that I need to make to get comfortable here. And so once you have found wherever you're going to relax, let's take 3 just breaths of release. So if you can, arms are out by the sides with palms up. We're going to take a deep inhale and exhale, sigh it out. 2 more times. And then let your breathing go. Let your body just breathe on its own. One of the very, very few things that we can both control ourselves and also allow the body to control. Breath. So now let go of control. And as you let go of control, let go of tension. Let go of holding, of gripping. Trying to observe where you may still be holding on to tension, possibly in the glutes, the butt, possibly in the face, like the jaw, the eyebrows. Maybe it's something as subtle as pressing the tongue to the top of your mouth, and that's still holding, that's still gripping. So let go of all of those tensions. I call them holding patterns. Letting go of that breath, letting go of the tension. What else can you let go of? our attachment to outcomes, our attachment to objects, attachment in general can often lead to unhappiness and disappointment. And so this practice of letting go, even something as subtle as letting go of the breathing or letting go of tension, can help us let go in other aspects of our life. Letting go and trusting, letting go and being happy. So settling in here, bathing in that happy glow, that relaxed feeling. Just allow yourself to be and to breathe. You may choose to stay here as long as you would like. But if you'd like to join me in ending the class, then just begin to release Shavasana by drawing the breaths a little bit deeper first. Inviting those big, full inhales, feeling all that movement in the ribs, and those big, full exhales. And as you bring that extra movement back to the body, go ahead and keep building on the movement by starting to wiggle the toes and the fingers. Maybe roll the ankles and the wrists. Maybe even stretching those arms out overhead. And if you're laying down, you may choose to stay here, especially if you know it'll take you quite a while to get up. I'm going to stay here and guide you through coming back to standing again. So if you are seated though, come sit up a little bit taller, stacking the shoulders over the hips and head over the shoulders, and everyone bring the palms together in front of the heart. Thank you so much for joining me today. And the love and the light and the happiness inside of me recognizes that within you. Namaste. You can open your eyes whenever you're ready. And those of you that aren't laying down, you're done. Those of you laying down, let's slowly make our way back up. So possibly just drawing the knees in a little bit closer into the chest. Pick a side to rock over to. I'm going to rock over to my left side. So coming all the way to that side.
Maybe I just stay there for a breath or two. And then, because I'm on my left side, I'm going to use that right arm, pressing that hand down. At the same time, I'm going to straighten out that right leg. So it's going to kind of give me a little momentum to press up. From here, maybe I just want to come and try to use my chair to come up. Maybe I want to come to all fours and basically crawl to wherever I need to come up. Thank you again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed class today. As always, please reach out with any and all feedback. Let me know you're watching. I have no idea. If you watch it on YouTube or through the hub, I can see how many watches the video has gotten. I have no idea how many of you are watching on channel 56. Anybody? Are you out there? So if you'd like to, just shoot me an email or a phone call. Say, hey, Aline, I watch. Keep doing it. And like I said, I hope I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.